There we go. Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So today the CPI inflation data is out. So what does that look like? Is inflation in the US going down or up? And what does this mean for the very first rate cut in years? Is it coming? Let's talk about it, and let's talk about how this is affecting Bitcoin and the trajectory of Bitcoin later this year and crypto. All right, guys. Welcome. This is what it's looking like right now in the US. Surprisingly, right now we're opening in green, but surprisingly we're not seeing a huge rally right now, although that can change. This could be just Wall Street trying to digest what is going on. Right now, Bitcoin is hovering right slightly under 61,000, so that's not too bad. Better than last night. And people are wondering, is this inflation reading good or bad? Well, I gotta say it's good. It's good. So yesterday we already had another inflation reading called PPI, and that came in lower than expected. And today we have the big one, CPI, which also came in lower than expected. All right, so headline inflation, the overall inflation in the US is now at 2.9%. We haven't seen a sub 3% CPI reading since 2021. It's been 3 years. We're finally in the 2-digit range, which is absolutely fantastic. CPI, core CPI is now at 3.2%. So both went down about 0.1%, right? So overall, this is fantastic. This is what we want to see for a couple reasons. Number one, when inflation comes down, that means things and services should be getting cheaper, right? That means our purchasing power has increased by 0.1% month to month. But yeah, in reality, are we going to notice a 0.1% drop with goods and services? No. But it's good to see that inflation is going down. Now, the other reason why this is good is because, of course, we're going to have the very first rate cut in the US next month since a long time ago, since like 2020, since 4 years ago. And right now, after the CPI inflation reading, this is what it's looking like. We have a 58.5% chance that the cut will be 25 basis points, which means 0.25%. And 41.5%, that'll be a 50 basis point cut, 0.5%, right? From our 5.25%, which again, we have been there for quite a long time, right? So this is what it's looking like. Now, unfortunately, we're not getting a bigger percentage on the 50 basis point cut, but still 41% is pretty substantial. Now, it's really going to depend from here on out. It was really going to depend on the economic data that we receive in the US. If a lot of the economic data shows that the US is falling really quickly in terms of our economy, jobs, our labor force, things like that, consumer sentiment, home builds, if everything is slowing down like crazy, that's definitely going to increase this percentage right here, which is what we want to see, right? But right now, it's still leaning more heavily towards the 25 basis point as of right now. So that's the latest. Now, some people argue that all the inflation reading are baloney and fudged and faked. That could be. We have seen categories being excluded, right? Probably on purpose to make the numbers look better than it is. It could be a possibility, right? But overall, we're moving according to plan, Powell's plan. which is to bring inflation down to 2%. Then he's going to start cutting rates. Hopefully, it's not too late. Hopefully, the U.S. economy is not going to fall into recession before those rate cuts and the effects of the rate cuts kick in, right? It seems like we're like right at the cusp right now. So we'll see. Let's see. All right. Anyway, so that's the CPI. That's the CPI reading for this morning. Overall, it's what we want. Overall, it's pretty good. But as for Bitcoin, right now, we're still in fear mode. We're not in extreme fear, but according to Fear and Greed Index, we're still in a fear mode, even though it's funny because I just came across a video that I created or I streamed in March when Bitcoin was coming up, when Bitcoin first pumped from the 50s to 57,000. I mean, the attitude was completely different. We were in extreme greed at that point. People were so ecstatic that we were in the 50s and the market was going up and everyone was feeling good. And now in reverse, even though we're at like 61,000, somehow we're in fear mode. That's just how things are. It's just really bizarre, right? Should we really be in fear mode right now? The answer is no, we should not be. Yet somehow the sentiment has changed so much that even at 61,000, we're somehow afraid of Bitcoin. That shouldn't be the case. You know what? And the ETFs kind of prove that. The big institutions and whales continue to load up. Yesterday was not a bad day. Overall, plus 39 million inflow. BlackRock again took in about $35 million. Fidelity 22. ARK took about 16.5. Overall, not a bad day. But again, I like to point out that BlackRock never outflows, only inflows, because Larry Fink understands this is the time to load up, right? That's why Larry Fink is now the third largest holder of Bitcoin, or BlackRock is, okay? I shouldn't say Larry Fink, but you know, he's the guy in charge, right? Third largest holder of Bitcoin. Soon will surpass even Binance. And at some point, he's going to flip above Satoshi Nakamoto. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all, right? But think about it. Within just 7 months, BlackRock have accumulated close to 350,000 Bitcoin. 7 months. What about 7 years? Right? What if you times this number by 7 or 10? You know, we're talking about 3-4 million in less than 10 years. That's going to be wild. That's going to be wild. That's not a good thing, but that's the way things are moving right now, right? Because the big boys, the institutions are playing catch up, and they finally understand what retail has been talking about in terms of Bitcoin. And now they are getting ready to dominate, to take over. That's not a good thing. So just be careful of that, okay? Don't let all the Bitcoins go into the big boys' pockets, or their wallets, I should say. You want to load up as much as you can while you still can. As for global liquidity, this will help Bitcoin, right? We're seeing rate cuts come across the board everywhere, okay, around the world. And what does that mean? That means liquidity is going to start flowing, okay? And the last 2 times we saw liquidity really start flowing was when we saw Bitcoin go up too. And it happens to correlate with the halving events and also correlate with presidential elections. All right, keep in mind the halving event just happens to fall on election year. So this time will be another one, right? You can see in 2016, Bitcoin went up a ton after the liquidity event and also after the elections. And then in 2020, same thing, right? Are we going to see the pattern repeat this time around? Yes. Yes, we are. That's why you just have to have a little bit of patience, right? Again, the big boys will continue to load up here on out. They're playing catch up, but they have billions of dollars to play with. We don't, right? But I'm showing you guys all the signs, all the patterns that indicate that we are moving according to plan. And you should not be fearful of any little FUD that may come along the way, right? Here's another example of the big boys coming in. Goldman Sachs all of a sudden reveals they have $400 million in Bitcoin ETFs, right? This is probably spread between them and their wealth clients, but it doesn't matter. Where did this come from? All of a sudden, to have $400 million of the Bitcoin ETFs, that's not chump change. That's close to $500 million. And again, this is all within 7 months. Who knows when they start accumulating? Maybe they started just like a month ago or 2 months ago, right? These big boys are here. Make sure you grab some before it's all gone. All right, now outside, what else there? A lot of other stuff. Stablecoin issuance could be the key to the next Bitcoin rally. Of course. But again, this relates to the big boys, the whales. I mean, just yesterday, another $1 billion was minted at Tether. Billion with a B. That's a lot of zeros. And this seems to come out every single week. We're seeing it more and more now. And of course, what does this mean? Some big whale dropped $1 billion off at Tether and said, give me $1 billion worth of USDT. That's what it means. That's a lot of money. And what do you think they're going to do with the USDT? Well, of course, they're going to go buy some crypto with it, right? So again, yes, we're seeing them come in full force. And get ready, because this is not even the parabolic stage yet. This is not the FOMO stage yet. When we do see it, it's going to be absolutely nutty, just like all the previous cycles that we've had before. So here's something else that's also good. 45% of Bitcoin supply has not moved in 6 months. What is this talking about? The HODL wave. Okay. 6 months. It's roughly around 45.6%, or a little bit lower than 50%, right? But overall, this is showing that, hey, there are a lot of people that are just holding. That's it. All you have to do is HODL. That's really it. If you can't afford DCA, you just HODL and let the gains come to you. That's how it's always worked. But you could see 2018 bottom, 2021 bottom. But notice that even during these bottom points, right? You'll see that, oh, actually, those are the tops. I'm sorry, the tops. 2018 top and 2021 tops. But the bottom points are actually the peaks, right? So you could see in 2017, basically, what is that? What is it? Well, what percentage is that? If I had to guess, like 70%. 2019, it's probably like 70%, right? The HODL waves does show that we have more and more and more. You can see the greenness too, right? The deeper greens. You can see we have more and more and more longer term holders. Even though there are a lot of people that are holding 6+ months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. But if you look at how like the deepening of the green goes, especially this cycle, you have many people that's been holding for 7 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years, 3 to 5 years, all basically all at all-time high. Way more than the last cycle, right, that peaked in 2021. Look at the difference between the greens. So I'm glad to see long-term holders are also getting smarter and holding, because they know that this is the way, right? Bitcoin is the way. As for a couple other charts, here's one that's showing a breakout pattern just like some of the previous months. This is, of course, very, very short term. This is more meant for traders. But long-term, Bitcoin is still on track, hasn't really deviated at all. And you could see the past 2 cycles, the similarities. It's always, always, always similar. Always similar. Even though we have different conditions, we have different FUD, we have different, bullishness. But overall, Bitcoin is just doing exactly the same thing as it has for forever, basically, right? So this is why you stay strong, stay focused, and continue to hold on DCA. Let the gains come to you. What else is there? Besides Bitcoin, a few other news. This one is talking about, this is interesting because have you noticed that no one is talking about NFTs? In 2021, NFTs were so hot. You had so many creators, so many collections come out, right? But now we don't really see NFTs at all. We don't hear anyone talk about it. And we hear about meme coins a lot, right? What are the differences between them? Well, there's a lot of differences, but these 2 points it makes sense why memes are so hot and not NFTs. Number one, simplicity. Is so much easier to create memes. Like there's so many memes being created, and the technical difficulty behind it is so much so much easier to create, and affordability, right? Everything was done on ETH in 2021. No one does stuff on ETH anymore. Everything's on Solana, right? Dirt cheap. So will NFTs ever come back? I don't know. I just don't know. If memes continue to get stronger, probably not. But who knows? In a bull cycle, anything can happen, right? And example, Pump.Fun, which makes it crazy easy to come out with memes. Dapps like that exist now. Didn't exist before, right? So just pointing that out. And now also, what else is there? Ethereum L2s process 12.4 million transactions a day. This is, of course, in talking about like Base and Arbitrum and Optimism, right? This is also very different from previous cycles because they didn't really exist. Polygon was the biggest L2 in the last cycle. Now they're really lagging behind, right? But again, this also relates to memes. A lot of memes on Base are doing very well. And lastly, Ton Foundation, or the alumni of the Ton Foundation, is raising $40 million for a new firm called Ton Ventures. And what are they going to do with that? Probably fund more games, click games, and probably memes that will be coming to Ton. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. What is going on today? U.S. market's kind of being wonky right now. That's actually kind of surprising. NASDAQ has turned red for no apparent reason. Dow and S&P barely in the green, even though we just had pretty good inflation data come out. Maybe they're afraid. I don't know. I can't really explain that. It could just be a shakeout and then we start rallying hard later today, but don't quite understand why Wall Street would not see today's inflation reading being a good thing. All right, let's do some Q&A. Let me scroll up. Let's see if I missed anything. Let's see. Crypto Jeffe, or Crypto Jeff, Crypto Jeffe. I need to quit my job. I think a lot of people are with you on that. Let's see. Retro Bill, I really appreciate the research. Enjoying all the crypto Nostradamus in the chat today. Well, thank you. What tax software do you use? According to JJ, or asked by JJ. I don't even remember. Coinly? I think Coinly is the one I use. It's been a while. Can you explain some key differences between Base and Solana? Well, one is EVM based and one is not. That's a huge difference. One is based on, one uses all development code for ETH. One uses Solidity. One uses, EVM. The other doesn't. So it's a big difference. And plus, Base doesn't have its own token. It uses gas. It uses ETH as gas. That honestly is surprising. I don't know what's going on with Wall Street right now. Maybe they were expecting a 2.8% reading, even though that doesn't make sense. I covered all the predictions from the banks yesterday, and most predicted 3%. Very little predicted 2.9%. So this is actually below expectation. I don't know. Wall Street is being a little wonky today. Does anyone say wonky anymore? I don't know why I keep saying that. Christian, is Cosmos even worth the hold anymore? I don't know, man. Cosmos is in the same bucket with a lot of others right now. It's down because alts are down, but we could definitely see them come back up, just like in March, April of this year. Sometimes they move mysteriously. Man shortage. Why don't you believe in diminishing returns every cycle? I do. There is diminishing returns every cycle. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is not going to still top out at 200,000 next year. Let's see. George, could you recommend a cold storage wallet? I think Ledger still produces some good stuff. I received a Flex recently. I have not used it, but it's pretty cool and pretty affordable. But of course, you could still stay with the S or a X. But the newer ones with the screens are actually pretty cool. But ultimately, all the cold storage, they're all the same. You just need to really safeguard your recovery phrase, because it doesn't matter what wallet you have. If you lose your recovery phrase, that's it. None of the devices are going to help you at all. If you write it down and someone takes that piece of paper, or you put it in the cloud and someone hacks your cloud account and gets it, that hardware device does not help you at all. It doesn't lock down your crypto. All it's doing is basically encrypting your private key and giving you a recovery phrase. Okay? So if you lose that recovery phrase, anyone could just take it at any time. So That's why that's the most important aspect to all these wallets. And some firms have tried to come out with like a way to help you recover your recovery phrase in case you lose it, right? But again, that doesn't help you if you get hacked or your phrase gets stolen. AJ asks, Bitcoin at 38K or 83K? I don't believe we'll ever see 30s again for Bitcoin. Knock on wood, but I just don't see it. 38K, never again. Max P says, I've been in this market since 2019. At times it's depressing. If you weren't in 2019 and then 2020, yes, you know. I had to, well, of course I was in it, and I had to, of course, stream during those times when Bitcoin fell. In 2020, fell below 4,000. And the times we like stood there under 10K for months. And I was trying to get people hopeful and encouraged. And I'll tell you, the sentiment was below fear level. It was capitulation. People wanted to just get out. Very little people stayed in. It's a very different time now, which is why I argue somehow this saying fearful, this is not fearful. Seeing Bitcoin tank to 3,800 is fearful. Seeing Ethereum tank below $100 is fearful. And I've seen that 3 times now. Those are fearful times. Right now, it's not. Right now, it's like annoyance, right? It's irritating. It's annoying to see Bitcoin not break through its previous high. But this is definitely not considered fearful. World War III will make Bitcoin go way up. Hopefully that's not going to happen ever. Jason says, I subscribed to your channel since 2017. You're like a crypto therapist. I appreciate that. It's my main thing. My main thing is to help educate and help people understand. You got to ignore the FUD and continue to hold on DCA. That's it. That's my only message. CLT 77664. Most of my Bitcoin was bought under 20K. Congratulations. I am not a depressed whole coiner. Congratulations. Rabito. George, what if I don't have any dry powder left? Then just hodl and figure out how to get more dry powder. How to earn a little extra money, you know, and utilize that to continue DCA. That's really it. Like back in 2017, I got into crypto 2013, 2014, and I didn't have a whole lot. I didn't have a whole lot at all, right? And that's because in 2008, 2009, I got completely wiped out the markets. The housing market completely wiped me out. So in 2013 and 2014, when I got into Litecoin mining, I mined what I can. I didn't have a lot. I used everything up. And then when I got into crypto in 2017, I didn't have a lot. I had $3,000 when I got back into crypto in 2017, and that's only because I resorted to flipping cars. I figured out a way. Like I needed some money. I started flipping cars. I did that for months, and after everything, I only had $3,000 left, and I bought 3 Bitcoins with it in 2017, right? And luckily at that time it was only $1,000 each. But my point is, my journey in crypto is longer than most. But if you think about it, it's still a very short journey. Beginning of 2017 was only 7.5 years ago. In my mind, that was like just a couple years ago. 4 years passes really, really quickly. 2021 in my mind was still like just yesterday. Maybe because I'm older, but even when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, even though we know it has potential to make millionaires seemingly overnight, you don't have to play that game. You can play the long game, which is just simply by buying and holding for a few years. Let the cycles play itself out and watch Bitcoin form a new low, a new higher low, and a new higher high every single cycle. That's really it. You don't have to worry about anything else. Man, I feel like a lot of longs are getting liquidated right now. This is temporary. We know that for sure. But man, this CPI reading is a head scratcher. Although, like I said, this could be just a fake out, right? To get people confused, get people to panic, and then boom, it comes right back up. We have seen that playbook too many times. Let's see. Nvidia slightly down, Coinbase slightly down, MicroStrategy down good percent. Tesla also down. Yeah, it's not just with Bitcoin. Today, Wall Street's selling off tech for some reason. Oh, look at this. Japan's prime minister steps down. That's no good. Interesting. Adrian, have you considered a hair transplant? No, not really. I like the shaved look like this. I wish I would have done this much sooner. Why is there so much beeping right now? All right, muted that. Darius says, I picked up a second job working nights and weekends on top of my corporate job. Thinking about doing Uber Eats delivery too. Got to raise liquidity for a bull run. Got to hustle if you want to moon. Darius, that's like an awesome attitude that most people will not have or try. Most people that have a corporate job, they're working 9 to 5, they're already tired already. They do not want to think about losing their weekends or nights. But you know, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Like I had so many periods in my life, even within the last 10 years. You know, I shared the story how when I got in 2017, I was broke. I didn't have anything. I had credit card debt. Even after 2018 to 2020, no, 2018 to 2021 was horrible for me. Absolutely horrible. I had no YouTube income. I had no job. I couldn't afford to DCA more than what I had, but I would not give up my streaming. Still put out a video every single day, despite the fact that no one was watching. I got banned on YouTube for 3 months. I was like multi-streaming on different platforms. I started a second channel to cover cars, and on top of that, I was also like doing like various things, right? Like arbitrage things, flipping things for extra money. It was not easy. It's not easy. People think that you just blow up on YouTube for no reason. No, that's not the case at all. So I appreciate anyone that hustles, because that's what it takes. If you want to be good at anything, you have to hustle and work at it. Nothing is given in this life, even when it comes to investing, right? If you don't have the dry powder to invest, you got to figure out how to do so. No one's going to help you make money. You have to figure out how to make money, right? The same thing with investing. So that's life. Thoughts on House of the Dragon Season 2? I didn't watch any of it. I'm going to download all of it on my iPad when I go to Singapore, so at least I get to have that. Because that trip is going to be brutal. Mike Lowry says, I quit smoking over 2 years ago, took all the savings, put it in DCA into Bitcoin ETH. Congrats. Congrats. Not only did you get healthier, but you save that money and use it to invest with. That's double awesome. Still bullish on Pepe. I think Pepe is still good to hold. Deputy Dog, hold on DCA. That's right. Is there a bright future for Sol? Of course, yes. Yes. Promised my wife that NFTs were going to change our lives. Now I have massive debt and she hates me. Well, I don't know why you made that promise. NFTs, I have my own NFT collection, but you know, I didn't create like a collection of 10,000. I released limited amounts of them, and I think they're still holding very well. But I just never understood all these like crazy collections that came out. Yeah, I was never a big NFT guy. Wait until you come to Singapore and check out the car prices here. You'll be so glad that I'm living in the US, because car price in the US a lot cheaper. That's what I hear. I hear car prices in other countries are astronomically higher than in the US. Did you do more research on Concorde airplane? I'm hearing they're building an airplane that's going to be faster than the regular ones in coming years. No, I didn't. I didn't see a point in it because we don't have any Concorde planes anymore. There might be newer airplanes that will be faster, but no, I didn't do any more research. I'm still disappointed they're not around right now. Just a quick brain pick on Audius. Bought a small bag. I know it's old now. I haven't heard anything else about Audius for years. I don't know if they're still drawing artists to it. It was a new decentralized Spotify, basically, that was going to reward artists more than traditional record labels. And they had, once upon a time, millions of people listen to it monthly. I have no idea what happened since then. That was all back in like 2021. Are you attending Token 2049? Yes, I'll be there. And the next big IFC fight will be in there too. What do you think about Team USA in 2028? No LeBron, probably no Curry. KD could still play. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. How crazy would it be in 2028, 4 years from now, LeBron is still on the team? I think Curry could still be on a team. They won't be leaders, but out of respect, they may be just thrown in a team because of their leadership. I mean, Curry will be at like 39 then, right? And LeBron will be at 44 or 43. But the way LeBron is playing right now, he could still be a very, very good role player in 4 years. Same thing with Curry. He could still shoot the ball. And KD will still be there, I'm pretty sure. The other guys, I'm not so sure. But, you know, the tragedy will be when those guys can't play anymore, like who will become the face of the NBA? I don't know if that's going to be like, you know, like a lot of the stars are all foreigners, so they're not going to be on Team USA. Yeah, I don't know who becomes the face after those guys leave. The only thing doing good right now is like Toncoin. Toncoin is still up like 9% because of this. They're coming out the new $40 million fund. But everything reversed today because of the CPI reading, which again is quite surprising. But I do think it's probably some kind of fake out that's making people fearful once again, liquidating longs, and that's how the whales like to do it. All right, guys. That is it. Today we had a big inflation reading, and it was good. It was really good. We're down to 2%, 2.9% to be exact. Headline is 2.9, core is 3.2. These are good numbers, right? This sets the stage for a rate cut next month. But the market has turned sour, really sour. Now just a little bit sour. So we'll see what happens tonight. So tune in 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and let's analyze things some more. Stay strong, my friends. Do not panic. Never panic. Continue to hold on DCA. All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.